tell us who you are, where you come from, what you've been doing, the experiences you have, the qualifications that we have. I'll give you about 7 minutes to do that. Okay, just, yeah, you proceed.
Thank you, Chair and members of the committee for giving me this opportunity. My names are FCPS Susan Oyatsi. I have been the advisor, finance for head of public service, and my contract has ended 28th of February. I was born in a village called Luhoho. I started school in a village school called Maturu in 1973. And I remember vividly, Chair and the committee, carrying cow dung every Friday to smear so that we minimize the fleas that cause jiggers in my village. And I'm happy to report when I went back, there's now a gorofa in that school, courtesy of my current MB, Anabwera. I really thank him for that. If this committee approves, I will work with him.
Move closer to the mic so that you are clearer. No, just move the chair close to the mic, or you move the mic closer to you.
I think, Chair, let me allow her to.
Okay, you may proceed now.
I thank you that, Chair. So I grew up in that village. I lost my mother at a very tender age, and quite a number of villagers came to help in my elder brother in bringing me up. So in primary schools, I went to many primary schools, even in Trans Nzoia. I did very well and joined Mukumu Girls, the Alliance of Western. And after that, I joined Kenyatta University, and then I did my master's in the University of Nairobi. And I've done a lot of professional courses. As I introduced myself, I'm a fellow of the Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Kenya. That is shortly, Chair, about my educational background. I come to my professional background. I began as a teacher after going through Kenyatta University, but I was studying the accountancy exams. And when I finished, I joined Heritage Insurance, starting from a low level and grew up. By the time I left, I joined the Energy Regulatory Commission, where I also started at a lower level and left as a chief accountant, and went to the judiciary as assistant accountant in charge of Nairobi region in 2013, and finally was employed by the Executive Office of the President as an advisor to head of public service. There are quite a number of achievements, Chair, that I have done in my professional line. I'll just start, because you gave me 7 minutes, I will go to the key ones. The key ones where I was a member of council of the Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Kenya for 2 terms. So I did 2 terms. I know that word. Then I was a member of Council for Women Accountants of Kenya, where I was very passionate about the education of the girl child who wants to study accounts. I started that program. In the institute, for the 2 years that I was there, I proposed, and by the time I was leaving, we had a policy on whistleblowing. I realized, Chair and members, that accountants are the ones who hold the economy of this country. The money that is in the budget policy statement now will be spent by the accountants who are regulated by ISPAC. So there are times, there are challenges in executing this budget because it is a professional hazard. So I had a policy called whistleblowing, where we got support from the United Nations and Amnesty International, and they coined it as Wapinduru. So an accountant, wherever you are, if you are caught in a situation where you are not following the law and you're trying to advise, please piga nduru kwa ISPAC. That is one of my major achievements that I left, and quite a number of things that I did at ISPAC. At the judiciary, I was involved in the automation, which has members changed the whole of the legal profession, the way they carry out their work. Nowadays, an advocate can sit and have a case in Malindi, in Kwale, in Mandera, at the comfort of his desk. That automation has my signature, Chairman. In the judiciary, there was leakages here and there in the collection of revenue. You know, the accounting officer was a collector of revenue, and I sealed off, nearly minimizing that risk. And as we talk, from the time I left the judiciary, they have been getting a clean report on revenue collection. They get 2 sets of opinion from the Auditor General. The collector of revenue has always been clean from my time. When I was at Energy Regulatory Commission, I did a lot of prudent management of finances. And when I was a teacher, my students performed very well in business studies, and we had an A for the first time. Those are the few. But if you allow me, Chair, I have others that have really helped move the country in terms of prudent use, responsible use of finances. At the head of public service, the latest that I have been working on was zero fault audit. This is all about compliance to the law. This is all about realizing that the internal auditor is a strategic partner in any organization. This is all realizing that we have to implement audit recommendations that are given. I'm aware, members, you churn out a lot of recommendations for the 6 committees of Parliament. Are they being followed? That is what I've been doing under the executive, to make sure that the questions that come from Parliament, the recommendations that are given by Parliament, are implemented by the executive arm. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Susan, for the elaborate introduction, your experience and qualifications, and what you've been able to achieve. I'll now allow members to field questions. We'll just take a few, and you must be armed with a paper and a pen so that you can note the questions that will come from the committee members. Honorable Engineer Zambia.
Thank you, Chair, for the opportunity. Just for the sake of introduction, you've talked of an accountant. Are you CPA